Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Laura Train Mama. Today we are having a look at the first story contained within the Thomas and Friends Annual for the year 2000. This story is called Slow Down, Thomas. Enjoy. Thomas the Tank Engine is very proud to have his own branch line. He works really hard to make sure that everything is just right. He fusses around his coaches, Annie and Clarabelle, and hurries them along, so that he always gets his passengers to the station on time. He always makes sure that parcels and packages are delivered on time too. He just hates being late and enjoys rushing around, keeping himself busy. One day, Thomas had an extra busy time. First, he took the men who work at the quarry to meet up with Toby and Henrietta so they could take them to work for the day. Then, Thomas had to hurry back to collect some children who were going on a school trip. Every seat on Annie, the coach, who carries Thomas's passengers, was full, and it was hard work pulling her along. Next, Thomas took Clarabelle, the coach, who carries goods as well as passengers, right to the end of the line. Clarabelle was packed with parcels and boxes and packages, but Thomas's driver found that some had been left behind. "Beep, beep," said Thomas. "No problem." And he steamed all the way back up the line to collect them. Thomas is a clever little engine, and he can travel backwards as well as forwards, but going backwards is hard work. There was no time for a rest before Thomas had to steam back to meet the quarrymen to take them home again. "Well done, Thomas," said his driver when he took Thomas back to the shed for the night. "You've worked really hard today." "Beep," said Thomas, but he sounded tired, and his peep was much quieter than usual. Every night, the engines talked about what they had been doing. Thomas always enjoyed hearing about their adventures and telling his. But that night, he yawned as Edward talked about how he had shunted the trucks around the yard. He could hardly stay awake. Kind old Edward noticed how tired Thomas was. "You're such a busy little engine, Thomas," he said. "You should take it easy sometimes. Don't rush around so much. Rushing around is why you get into so many scrapes. You'll still get your jobs done if you go a bit slower, and you won't tire yourself out." But Thomas didn't want to listen to Edward's advice. "I like being busy," he said. "Going fast is fun. I know you mean to be kind, Edward, but you don't always know what's best, you know. Not for me, anyway." Henry agreed. "Thomas is right," he said. "It's fun being a really fast engine, just like me." "Going fast can be fun," said Edward, "but your speed makes you upset sometimes, doesn't it, Henry? And rushing about has even made you ill." Henry had to agree that that was true, but Thomas still didn't like Edward's advice. "Well, I'm not like Henry," said Thomas cheekily. "I never get tired, and I'm never, ever ill. I like going fast, and I like being busy, so there." But the next morning, Thomas still felt tired when his driver came to take him to his branch line. He huffed and puffed as he pulled Annie and Clarabelle, who seemed heavier than usual. When he came to a steep hill, he had to pull really hard as he rushed to reach the top as fast as he could. Just then, Thomas remembered what Edward had said in the shed the night before. Perhaps Edward was right, thought Thomas, and he slowed down just a little bit. No one seemed to notice, and Thomas still got to the end of the line on time. On the way back, going slower than usual, Thomas felt pleased. His work seemed even more enjoyable now that he had time to look around him. He even had time to say hello to the cows in the field beside his line. Thomas was puffing along happily when he looked up the line and saw something that made him gasp. "Cinders and ashes," he said. Up ahead, at the junction where he was going to meet James, there was a truck on the line. One of its wheels had come off, and the vegetables it was taking to the market were everywhere. There were boxes and sacks and cabbages and carrots all over the place. Thomas had to stop before he hit the truck. He braked as hard as he could. His brakes squealed as he went slower and slower But the truck got closer and closer. "Oh, my wheels and coupling rods," said Thomas. "Will I be able to stop in time?" With one last big effort, Thomas managed to stop. He was very close to the truck. "You stopped just in time, Thomas," said his driver. "Well done! What a clever little engine you are." "Yes, well done, Thomas," said the driver of the truck. "If you hadn't stopped in time, there could have been a nasty accident." The passengers all leaned out of the windows and cheered and clapped. That night, back in the shed, Thomas couldn't wait to tell his friends all about his exciting day. The other engines were as proud of Thomas as his driver was. "Well done," said Edward. "You're a clever little engine." "Thank you, Edward," said Thomas. "You're a clever engine too. You were right about rushing around and going too fast. I took your advice and slowed down a bit. I don't know if I would have been able to stop if I'd been going as fast as usual. I might have banged into that truck and had an accident." "Well, we're all very glad you didn't," said Edward. "You were a real hero today." "And I learned a lesson as well," said Thomas. "You do know best, Edward." That brings us to the end of the story. Slow down, Thomas. What did you think? Let me know. And have a great day.